It's truly inspiring to see how our YouTube channel has grown over the years. With so many subscribers from all over the world, we'd like to say thank you to you. And what's the best way to say thank you to all of you? Why not we do an 8-part series that covers topic of how to choose your next DSLR model, what lenses you should own, how to use your flash on the camera. Now take your flash and put it away from your camera and get studio quality portraits. How to understand all the various focusing modes and focusing area. How to make use of the metering mode and when you should change them. How to shoot nicer picture adhering to all these artistic rules. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Boy. I'm a professional photographer based in Kuala Lumpur and also professional trainer on photography. We welcome you to enjoy this 8-part series.
Action!
So welcome to the first part, how to choose the right DSLR model for your next camera purchase. Firstly, let's define the DSLR, Digital Single Lens Reflex, which typically means that you have a mirror in the cavity of your lens body, which is going to flap up every time you press the shutter release button. It is the mirror that allows you to peep through the viewfinder. The viewfinder is an optical viewfinder. Now, when I press the shutter release button, the mirror flaps up, the shutter opens, you see the sensor. That's by definition, but over the years, with all the progress in all the models of all the brand, it's kind of blurry now what a DSLR is. Now I know a lot of you will be arguing with me, what is the actual definition of the DSLR? I am not here to delve into that topic. Let's go through what I would still call a DSLR. Firstly, you have a shutter that closes the sensor. Not only that, what's more important is that it should allow you to fit on different type of lenses or focal length. 50, 1585 for instance, from a zoom lens to a prime lens. Now what's even more important is that you should be able to change your aperture value, your ISO that controls the sensitivity of your sensor, and also your shutter speed, which allows you to get artistic pictures like this. That's right, blurry background, light streak, light trails, and not only you can fit a lens to it, well, a good DSLR should also allow you to fit a flash on top of the camera like so. Now with the new advance in technology, there'll be a lot of mirrorless camera. So why did camera manufacturers invent the mirrorless camera? Simple. Let's do a comparison. Let's look at the DSLR. The DSLR is big because it has to house a mirror. It is this mirror that reflects the images into the viewfinder so that you can see it. These kind of viewfinders are called optical viewfinders. Look at the mirrorless. The mirrorless has no mirror, and it depends on an electronic viewfinder, EVF, to show you what you'll be shooting. So the advantage of a mirrorless camera is that it's way smaller and very much lighter than a DSLR. But the problem is, a mirrorless camera's EVF will always consume more battery, and the second disadvantage of a mirrorless camera, the EVF always lag behind a fast-moving subject. So you need to find a mirrorless camera that has a high refresh rate for the EVF. Now let's get this out of the picture first. Cameras are cameras are cameras. What's more important is the way that you shoot. Now it doesn't matter what brand that you end up buying. If you love a Canon, go ahead and get a Canon. If you love a Nikon, go ahead and get a Nikon. If you love a Sony, go get a Sony. And that is why I use all three major brands, because I have to teach with all of them. Now having said this, you need to understand one thing. All these brands produces three major groups. It's a bit like your car. Let's look at the Mercedes S-Class. These are the car models that fall in the Mercedes S-Class. Same thing, you have the BMW 7 Series. Well, let's look at the Japanese brand, Honda. You've got the Honda Accord. So this is what Canon, Nikon and Sony would call it, the Group A, or at least what I would call it, the Group A. Now what falls into the Group A? Let's look at the Canon first. These are the models that currently would fall into the Group A. But you need to understand, 2 months from now, this is considered outdated. Let's look at the Nikon. These are the models that fall under the Group A. These are the cream of the crop, just like your Mercedes S-Class and your BMW 7 Series. Let's look at the Sony. So if you look at this, this is the D600 of the Nikon family. This is a Group A camera. Typically, they are expensive because they are full frame. We're going to dedicate a separate topic just to understand what full frame is. In other words, you bust your budget buying something like this. So most full-time professionals would own something like this. And what sets them apart is that the buttons of all these models, they have their own dedicated button. Why is it so? It allows you to access the features very quickly. So when you work, you don't have to press 5 to 6 buttons, and that's not fun. We need to press one button, change one dial, and that's it, you're ready to shoot. So that's the Group A. So if you ask me, if you have a lot of budget and you're serious about going professional, go get a Group A. Now, the Group B. Likewise, Nikon, Sony and Canon all have their Group B. Group B is like your Mercedes E-Class, the most popular range. Your BMW 5 Series, take a look at a Canon. These are the Group B. Nikon's Group B. I love buying the Group B because they're really affordable and I use them as workhorses. Reason, if I drop them or misplace them, I don't feel so heartsick because they are not expensive at all. So if you love photography and you're going to buy one camera, well, maybe you're thinking, maybe I can be a professional, go buy a Group B. It has most of the feature that Group A has. The only difference is that the buttons are not so much. They're not as robustly built. It's a good investment, Group B. So I would strongly advise you, go buy a Group B if you're serious about photography. And finally, the Group C, similar like your Mercedes-Benz C-Class, your BMW 3 Series, and your Honda City. Now take a look at the Canon's Group C. The Nikon's Group C. The Sony Group C. Now I would call the Group C the shopping with your spouse camera.
就是这个，就是这个，我要的就是这个。
这个这么贵，你拿隔壁那个就可以了啦。
可是
没有这个什么，你拿隔壁那个。
OK 了。
So if you're just buying a camera or DSLR just to shoot pictures for your holiday and you're not interested to learn about aperture, shutter and all that stuff, you want to take your camera, put it on auto mode, yeah, perhaps you go for a Group C. Now if you own a Nikon Group C, I need you to be aware of this. There are a lot of things that are not enabled in the Group C. For instance, you cannot use this lens. It doesn't have a motor to drive it, so if you fit on a 50mm f1.8 on a Group C, you'll be turning the lens the whole day. Come on, Nikon, what are you trying to do, yeah? Look at the Canon. The Canon Group C, however, doesn't do this to you. Now another thing that's disabled on the Nikon Group C, you do not have the auto FP. Now it'll be a long topic to cover, but when it comes to advanced flash, you will not be able to get beautiful blue sky and still fire flash at a high shutter speed. So if you want to be serious about photography and you want to try all this intermediate to advanced technique, you may want to stay away from the Group C. But if you are just buying it for your holidays, oh hey, there are two more things I forgot to tell you about the Group C cameras. The Group A and the Group B always come with the dedicated aperture dial and shutter dial. Look at the Nikon as well. That's the shutter dial and that's the aperture dial. So because when you're shooting manual, that's really convenient. But the Group C, you only get one dial and that's why it's cheaper. So it's not fun holding down a button to change your aperture. The second thing, you're always not having the Kelvin white balance. And it's not fun at all, because to get beautiful, correct color, professionals and a lot of serious photographers depend on the Kelvin white balance. Because the auto white balance of the Group C, not very dependable. And there you have it. Go ahead and buy whatever that you love. Now, before we go off, I'd like to introduce to you what we call the question tree. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to write into us. You can ask any question pertaining to photography and cinematography, and we're going to feature you and we're going to answer your question on the show. So, let's show you how this works. Director, choose one question from the question tree.
First show, first question.
First show, first question. That's the first question. This is a write-in on our YouTube channel on one of the more popular episodes called How to Break the Sync Speed. This is from Yuri Bakshi. Yuri Bakshi, thank you for subscribing to us. I do not know where you are from. So his question is, hi there. I really like what is shown in this video, but I'm confused if this will work on my Nikon D5100. Yuri Bakshi, I need to apologize to you. Your question seems to touch on a topic that we talked about earlier. You see, the Nikon D5100 is a Group C camera. Now the problem is when you own a Nikon Group C camera, Nikon disabled the auto focal plane flash feature. This means if you put your flash on top of your camera, you will not be able to have a shutter speed higher than 1/250. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Continue watching all this series, and if you like it, please share it with all your friends. I'll see you again. This is the best one, isn't it? And then I realized somebody at the back there wrote the marker without taking off the cap.